My golden sister sent a meme in the family chat. Freelance coding equals unemployed gamer, mocking me. A month later, her bar license was gone, and so was my parents' pride. Hey Reddit. So a while back, my sister Rachel, 29 female, made a meme about me, Josh, 31 male, being a freelance coder equals unemployed gamer, and shared it in the family group chat. Everyone laughed. Nobody defended me. I left the chat without a word. Fast forward a few weeks, and guess who's blowing up my phone because something urgent happened and now suddenly my skill set matters? What started as her trying to use me ended with a full-on meltdown involving lawyers, lies, and some beautiful karma I didn't even have to lift a finger for. You're gonna love this one, it gets messy. You ever look at your phone and just know it's about to piss you off? That was me last Tuesday. I work as a freelance software developer, so while I was eating leftover Chinese, fixing a broken contact form for a client whose website looked like it time-traveled from 2007 when I got a ping from the family group chat. Now for context, this chat was always a mess. Daily good morning gifts from my mom, recycled quotes about hustle from my dad, and my sister Rachel dropping random screenshots of her accomplishments, like she's running her own press release campaign. Aunt Janice sending those stupid Minions memes. So, half the time, I'd mute the chat and move on. But this one? This one hit different. It was a meme. Cartoon drawing of some scruffy dude in a hoodie, Cheeto dust on the keyboard, surrounded by empty energy drink cans. Caption said, freelance coding equals unemployed gamer. My name was tagged. Twice. And just to hammer it in, Rachel added, Lamau had to share. You doing okay over there, Josh? Then my mom hit it with the laughing emoji. Dad commented, so true, haha. And my cousin Emily dropped in a Kevin Hart laughing gif like it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. I didn't respond. No point. I just left the chat. Quietly, no dramatic exit message, no, you'll regret this. Just tapped leave conversation, and that was that. Not because I was mad. I mean, yeah, it annoyed me. But mostly, I just wasn't going to waste another bite of my bandwidth on people who still think working for a law firm means success. And building your own business means you're one bad day away from streaming Fortnite for rent money. Rachel's been the golden child since forever. Straight A's, honor society, then law school. The family basically threw a graduation week for her. Custom cake, photo shoot, the whole deal. When I got certified in front-end development and picked up my first real client, crickets. Dad called it a phase. Mom asked if I was still doing that computer thing. Rachel joked I should put digital handyman on my business card. So no, I didn't leave because I was hurt. I left because I'm not sticking around for a roast session I didn't RSVP to. It's not about ego. It's about self-respect. I grew up being the kid who built his own PC at 13, while everyone else was doing sports or taking dance lessons. I liked figuring out why things didn't work, and fixing them without needing to ask anyone for help. But back then, that made me antisocial or lazy, according to my family. Rachel? She was giving fake court presentations in the living room at 10 years old, wearing mom's blazer, and using her stuffed animals as a jury. They ate it up. Our little lawyer. Every time she talked, they acted like she was curing cancer. Every time I fixed the Wi-Fi or helped mom's friend reset her email password, I was just the kid who's good with gadgets. By the time I hit 20, I stopped trying to impress anyone. I freelanced, worked on contracts that actually paid well, and slowly built a client list. I didn't post about it, didn't rub it in anyone's face. I just worked, quietly, because I figured success talks loud enough on its own, eventually. Apparently not loud enough for them to hear through Rachel's nonstop bragging about her bar exam and LinkedIn followers. So, yeah, that meme? That was the moment I knew there wasn't any winning them over. They weren't laughing because they misunderstood me. They were laughing because that's how they chose to see me. The lesser sibling. The joke. So I bounced. No big speech. No rage texting. Just done. Later that night, I kept thinking about it. Not the meme itself, but how casual it was for them. Like they didn't even hesitate. The same way they don't hesitate to praise Rachel for everything, including stuff I low-key helped her with. Yeah, that's a fun little detail. She once called me up, all panicked, because her firm's internal portal was glitching during a live meeting. I fixed the CSS and JavaScript on the spot. Never asked for a thank you. Just did it because, well, I'm not petty. But guess who claimed she figured it out herself during her next team call? So nah, I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I'm just done playing team mascot for a family that only claps when the lawyer talks. I screenshotted the meme. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I like keeping receipts. Especially for stuff like this. It's weirdly motivating. Like a digital version of they'll see. I went back to work, 3 tickets in my inbox, one from a client asking if I could build a custom widget for tracking bookings, another wanting help fixing a broken WordPress site. It was a good day. Quiet, productive. No memes, no fake smiles, just code and coffee and peace. And you know what? That meme was the best thing they could have done for me. Because now I know exactly where I stand. And unlike them, I'm not pretending. They can fake whatever they want. Status, closeness, even that tight-knit family image they post online for likes. I'm not playing that game. I don't need their approval. I've got invoices that speak louder. So imagine my lack of surprise when I got a text from Rachel 5 days later. No, hey. No, how are you? Nothing resembling humility. Just straight panic. Rachel, I need your help. It's urgent. I think someone hacked my files. Something important might get leaked. I stared at the message for a solid 10 seconds, blinked, then laughed. Out loud, alone in my room, like a crazy person. This was the same person who called me a basement tech guy in front of my dad's coworkers last Thanksgiving because I wore a hoodie instead of a blazer. Now she's got urgent tech problems, and suddenly I exist? I didn't reply. Not right away. I screenshotted it and went back to my work. Had a payment gateway integration to test. Her crisis didn't even make my top 5 for the day. She doubled down the next morning. Rachel, I'm serious. These files are confidential. I could get in trouble. You know this stuff. I really need you. Then a second text, 30 seconds later. Rachel, I'm not asking you to fix everything. Just look into it. You're not even working a real job anyway. There it was. That last line, man. That's what made it fun. I could practically hear her voice in my head. Smug, dismissive, like asking me for help was a favor she was doing me. The unemployed gamer has nothing better to do, right? So I responded, you want professional help? You'll need to pay my professional rate. Short? Director? Civil? No sarcasm even. I was proud of myself, honestly. She didn't like that. Rachel. Wow. Seriously? You're charging your own sister? Rachel. You'd really let me get into trouble just because of a joke? Ah, yes. That's all it ever was. A harmless little joke. I replied, I'm not letting you get in trouble. You are. Then muted her. 3 hours later, my mom called. I let it ring twice, then answered. I already knew the tone she'd use. That soft, performative, guilt-laced voice. The one she breaks out when someone's in the hospital or when she needs a ride to the airport at 4 a.m. Josh, she started, your sister's going through something serious. You really can't just help her out? I took a breath. She said I wasn't working a real job, remember? So this unemployed gamer's busy playing on his keyboard right now. Don't be petty. I wasn't. I was billing. She's your sister, Mom continued. Like that was some sort of universal override code. And I'm your son, I shot back. Funny how that only matters when Rachel needs something. She sighed like I was being difficult. Like I wasn't the one being asked to clean up a mess for free while being disrespected for doing it. That's the thing with people like them. They want the benefits of your skills without the respect for your work. They think love equals unpaid labor. What made it funnier? She'd already tried going to other people. I found out later she hit up 2 of her firm's real tech guys in her network she used to brag about. One told her it had cost $1,200, no shortcuts. The other wanted $500 just to open the files. No handouts. No fake sibling discounts. So she circled back to me thinking I'd jump in for free just because we share a last name. Like I was still the kid fixing her printer in exchange for pizza. She's nervous, Josh, my mom said. She should be, I replied. Confidential files? Legal career? Those consequences aren't a joke. Mom went quiet for a second. Then she dropped the line she always uses when she's losing an argument. You've always been jealous of her. There it was. The classic fallback. Not, you're right. Not, we've been unfair. Just the same lazy narrative they've leaned on since we were kids. Rachel the star, Josh the problem. Doesn't matter how many clients I've helped or how well my business is doing. In their eyes, success only counts if it's in a courtroom or on a LinkedIn headline. I'm not jealous, I said calmly. I'm just done being treated like the family tech support with no salary. She didn't respond. Just said, fine, then hung up. No goodbye. That night, I went to bed in the same hoodie she once made fun of. Comfortable, stress-free, and completely at peace with my decision. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Screenshots. Everywhere. Rachel's files had leaked. And not just any files. We're not talking contracts or legal memos. We're talking screenshots of affair convos, personal messages, explicit stuff that had names, timestamps, even a few office-related references. Apparently, she'd been mentoring one of her clients a little too intimately. And the thing is, my sister is married, so she was having an affair. Suddenly, every mutual connection was whispering. The group chat I'd left? Silent. My mom didn't call. Rachel didn't text. No one asked me for help anymore. I sat at my desk sipping cold coffee, watching it all unfold like a spectator at a game I didn't buy tickets for. I didn't laugh. I didn't post anything. I just opened my notes app and wrote 3 words. I warned her. Not directly, not dramatically, but in every way that mattered. I told her months ago her passwords were lazy. That storing sensitive crap in Google Drive folders named Do Not Open One wasn't exactly Fort Knox. She rolled her eyes. Told me. Not everyone needs to be a paranoid neckbeard. All right then. Now her important legal files were all over the place. But not for the reasons she claimed. It wasn't client contracts or confidential firm stuff. Nope. Turned out those leaked files were screenshots of explicit messages between her and one of her married clients. Texts, photos, even a dumb audio note where she called him daddy and joked about billing their flirty chats under consulting hours. Professional, right? The screenshots had names, timestamps, her work email right in the corner. She didn't even bother using a burner. Just raw stupidity uploaded straight to the cloud. By noon, they were circulating everywhere. Someone dumped them anonymously to a private legal group. Someone else posted them in a group chat from her alma mater. And then, of course, it made its way into the local legal gossip circle. To make things worse, one of the messages literally had her law firm's name in it. Let's keep this quiet. My firm would flip if they saw this. Oh yeah? You think? I sat at my desk refreshing a dashboard for a client's e-commerce backend while watching her reputation slide into a ditch in real time. My phone buzzed a few times. One from a high school friend. Yo, is that your sister trending on Legal Mess? Another, didn't she always call you unemployed? Yep, same one. What really blew me away was how fast it escalated. It wasn't just embarrassment, it was potential disbarment territory. Some people even started speculating about who the guy was, whether it was a client she represented. If it was, then she might have crossed ethical boundaries that go beyond oopsie territory. And then came the cherry on top. Someone leaked that she was under internal review at her firm for conduct-related issues. Translation? They were trying to figure out how fast they could cut her loose without catching stray shrapnel. Around 3 p.m., I got the first real message from her since the whole thing started. Rachel, what did you do? No hi, no help, just straight-up accusation. I stared at it. The irony was unbelievable. She begged me to help her, refused to pay, and now she thought I leaked her affair screenshots out of revenge? Nah, I'm not that bored. I did nothing, which is still more than you deserved. Didn't even get a reply. Just a status update from her on WhatsApp that said, people will lie when they feel threatened. Right, sure, you're the victim here. You're the victim. By evening, her husband had gone full ghost mode, deleted his social media, removed their wedding pics from his profile, updated his bio to just say, forward. Coldest move I've seen since someone rage quit a Dota match. The dude had a reputation for being low-key, never into drama. So watching him act like she was dead to him told me everything I needed to know. She didn't just screw up. She torched her own house and expected the rest of us to hold the hose. And then, just when I thought it was winding down, I got a call from a burner number. I don't usually answer unknowns, but I was feeling curious. It was her husband. Hey man, he said. Not trying to start anything. I know you do tech stuff, and I need to know. Did you leak that? His voice wasn't angry, just tired. The kind of tired you hear from people who've been lied to in stereo. No, I told him. She came to me asking for help. I told her I'd do it, for a price. She refused. Then it leaked. I had nothing to do with it. He was quiet. Then he said, I believe you. Just needed to hear it. We didn't talk after that. But later that night, he posted a picture of their dog on Instagram with the caption, she got the law degree. I got the better loyalty. I don't care who you are. That's peak poetic justice. Meanwhile, I kept working. Because unlike her, I actually had clients. I wasn't just surviving, I was scaling. I even had a local HVAC guy refer me to one of his business buddies who needed custom backend work done for scheduling installs. He said, I told him you're the guy that doesn't mess around. That one sentence did more for me than anything my family ever said. The family group chat? Still quiet. No one reached out. No damage control. Not even from mom. Guess they were busy cleaning up the mess made by the kid they said had direction. Around midnight, I got one last message from Rachel. Rachel, you're loving this, aren't you? I didn't answer. I just archived the chat. I wasn't loving it. I wasn't even celebrating. This wasn't a win for me. It was just another reminder that the people who looked down on me for years were the same ones begging for my help when things got real. And I had the receipts to prove it. I backed up all her messages, organized the timestamps, and saved them in a folder titled In Case of Blame Game. Because if I've learned anything about people like her, it's that they don't take losses quietly. They look for someone to drag down with them. But this time, I wasn't anywhere near the blast zone. I'd spent years being the emotional crash pad for everyone in that family. The guy they'd mock on Monday and ask for help on Tuesday. But not anymore. This time, I was just the guy watching it all burn from a safe, well-insulated distance, with receipts, backups, and a secure folder marked Not My Problem. Rachel, meanwhile, was in freefall. First, the law firm. Apparently, the moment the screenshots made it to their inbox, they went full CYA mode. Internally, they labeled it misconduct concerns. Externally, radio silence. Not even a PR patch job. Just a quiet scrubbing of her name from the firm's website, like she never existed. Second, the clients. I recognized one of them. He'd been at a few of her "look who I'm representing" dinners my parents were weirdly proud of. A guy who owned several properties and used Rachel for contract work. The moment the scandal hit, he pulled his files and hired someone else. He didn't even call to say goodbye. Just dropped a review online that said, "Unreliable. Would not recommend." Then came the personal collapse. Her husband went full ice mode, changed the locks, took the car, and according to one of my friends who still lived near them, gave away her Peloton for free on Craigslist. And just when I thought the fallout had peaked, I got a knock on my door. It was Mom and Dad. Now, I live in a modest apartment about 15 minutes from their house. They rarely visit unless they need something, or they've run out of people willing to put up with them. So when I opened the door and saw them standing there with that weird, overly nice smile, I already knew this wasn't about catching up. "Can we talk?" Mom asked. I stepped aside. "Sure," shoes off. They sat down stiff like they were visiting a parole officer. Dad cleared his throat like he was about to start a PowerPoint. "Your sister's going through a rough time," he said. I nodded. "Yeah, apparently she's been going through people too." Mom winced. "Josh, please." She said I'd be nothing, I reminded them. That freelancing was code for unemployment. That I was just lucky if someone needed a cheap website. I remember that, do you? They shifted. Neither made eye contact. "We're not here to relive old fights," Dad said, in his favorite neutral voice. "We're here to ask for your help." I raised a brow. "You mean the same help she refused to pay for?" Silence. "She's being investigated. The Bar Association might get involved. She could lose her license," Mom finally said. "She leaked her own affair texts," I replied. "The only thing I did was say no." "She says you manipulated them," Dad said. I laughed. Loud. The kind of laugh that makes people uncomfortable. "Then she should sue me." "Oh, wait. She probably will." "She's scared," Mom said again. "She should have been scared before she hit send," I replied. Then came the real reason they were there. The guilt wasn't working, so they moved to their go-to play. Manipulation by responsibility. "We just need you to clarify a few things," Dad said, reaching into his folder. He handed me a letter. It was already signed by Rachel. A drafted statement claiming the screenshots were faked, possibly by a family member with access to her cloud credentials. They wanted me to sign it too. I blinked. "You're asking me to admit I faked a scandal to ruin my sister's life? On paper?" Dad nodded like he was handing me a grocery list. "It's just to calm things down. No one's going to check the details." Mom jumped in, arms folded. "You don't even have a reputation to protect, Josh." "She does. Be reasonable." I stared at them. "You're actually saying I have nothing to lose?" "She's a lawyer," Mom snapped. "She built something. You work from your laptop. You could recover." "That's the dumbest logic I've ever heard," I said. "You want me to lie so she can keep pretending to be better than me?" "We're not asking you to lie," Dad said. "We're asking you to support your sister." I laughed again. "This is support? You want me to burn myself to keep her warm?" "You always twist things," Mom barked. "This is why no one takes you seriously. You act like the world owes you something just because you didn't get enough attention as a child." I stood up. "You can take the letter and leave. You can take—" And Dad frowned like I disappointed him in a spelling bee. "You're being emotional." "No," I said. "I'm being done." Mom grabbed her purse like it personally offended her. "I hope you're happy when she loses everything. She lost it the second she treated me like trash and expected me to play janitor." They walked out stiff and muttering. Right before the door closed, Dad said, "You've always had a chip on your shoulder." I opened it back up. "Yeah, and it's gotten me farther than your approval ever did." That night, I got a text from Rachel. "Rachel, you always wanted to watch me fall. You finally got your wish." I didn't answer. Instead, I opened an email from a new client, a property manager who needed back-end support for a housing site. Said he found me through a referral from a real estate agent. "Heard you're the guy who gets things done without the drama." I accepted the contract. The next morning, I got an unexpected DM on LinkedIn from someone I hadn't spoken to in years, her former law school roommate. "Hey, don't know if you heard, but Rachel's been suspended. Word is she's blaming you." There it was. I'd been expecting it. The pivot. The scapegoat move. She didn't just fall. She needed to drag someone with her. And since I was the one who said no, I became the villain in her little courtroom play. That afternoon, I got another message from a company that Rachel had applied to before all this. Their hiring manager had seen the drama online and reached out to me directly. "Would you be willing to consult with us instead? We'd love to work with someone reliable." I said yes. The new client was clean-cut, professional, and didn't care about the noise. "We saw your code samples and the feedback from Elm Creek Realty," he said over Zoom. "You're clearly the guy for the job." That was it. No drama, no digging, just respect. But while I was debugging their tenant portal, Rachel was on a different kind of mission. Damage control through deflection. The official legal notice hit my inbox 3 days later. Subject: cease and desist. Notice of intent to pursue legal action. My first reaction? Laughed so hard I almost knocked over my coffee. The document was a badly structured PDF with her firm's letterhead, probably a leftover from her office, and full of legal jargon strung together like it came from a template generator. It still had the Microsoft Word formatting lines visible, like she saved it in a rush and forgot to export clean. Real professional stuff from someone trying to restore her reputation. She was suing me for defamation, intentional emotional distress, and get this, malicious sabotage of professional standing. I scrolled to the bottom. Claimed damages? $120,000. Yep. She actually tried to sue me for 6 figures because she embarrassed herself and wanted someone else to wear it. I forwarded the document to my attorney, a chill guy named Ellis I've worked with for years. Dude's built like a bouncer, talks like a barista. He read it, then sent me a voice memo that started with, "Bro!" and ended with, "We're going to eat her alive." We filed a formal response, denied everything, and submitted a motion to dismiss with prejudice. Attached? A carefully labeled folder with screenshots of her asking me for help, her refusing to pay, her admitting it was urgent, me refusing her, accusing me afterward. We also included metadata logs showing I never accessed her files, because I didn't. I couldn't have leaked what I never touched. What made it even better? Her Google Drive folder wasn't locked down. It had been shared with 3 people total, none of them me. But guess who was on that list? Yep, the guy she was swapping consulting hour pillow talk with. His personal Gmail, plain as day. That alone nuked her whole argument. If someone leaked it, it was either her or her boy toy. I wasn't even in the building, let alone the suspect lineup. The court date landed 2 weeks out. In that time, I didn't respond to her. I didn't engage with my parents either. Mom tried calling once. I declined. She followed up with a passive-aggressive message. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Families don't sue each other." No, but apparently they do try to frame each other when it fits their story. On the morning of the hearing, I rolled in early. Not because I was anxious. I just wanted a good seat for the circus. Rachel was already there, sitting stiffly beside a junior associate I'd never seen before. Guess the firm didn't want their name tied to this garbage. Guess she found someone green enough or broke enough to take her case. Either way, dude looked like he practiced law between DoorDash shifts. Anyways, she looked like she hadn't slept in a week. Dark circles, flat expression, like reality had finally smacked her square in the face, and she was still deciding whether to cry or pretend it didn't hurt. Her lawyer opened the hearing with a dramatic retelling of Rachel's so-called reputation assassination, claimed I had expert access to her devices, that I deliberately manipulated private messages to frame her, that I had a personal vendetta born from childhood jealousy. I almost choked. Dude was reading from a script like this was Suits. Then Ellis stood up. "No manipulation occurred," he said flatly. "What did happen is the plaintiff stored explicit, incriminating content in a shared cloud folder with no encryption, no password protections, and later attempted to shift the fallout onto the defendant, who declined to assist her for free. He has provided documentation showing she asked for help, refused payment, and later blamed him when the leak occurred anyway. Then he handed over our receipts, timestamps, metadata, emails, logs, even a full list of the IP addresses that accessed her Google Drive, none of which matched mine. But you know whose did match? Her affair partners. When Ellis pointed it out, Rachel went pale. Her lawyer tried to pivot, said I might have instructed someone else to leak it. Judge asked, "Do you have any evidence of that?" "No, Your Honor, but the timing is circumstantial. Move on." I almost high-fived Ellis in the courtroom. When it was Rachel's turn to speak, she gave some half-shaky monologue about betrayal and my own brother turning on me. It wasn't even convincing. It was like watching a student who didn't study try to wing a presentation based on the Wikipedia summary. The judge finally leaned forward and looked straight at her. "You didn't file a case. You filed a personal vendetta dressed up as a legal complaint. That's not justice. That's weaponizing the court system to clean up your own mess. And we don't play that game here. You should know this since you were a lawyer, boom. Case dismissed. With prejudice. Meaning she couldn't refile, couldn't try again, couldn't drag me through another round of nonsense. It was over. I didn't gloat. I didn't smirk. I just stood up, nodded at Ellis, and walked out like I had better things to do. Which I did. That night, I posted a photo on my business page. Just me, standing in front of my laptop, middle finger taped down to hold up a cup of coffee. Caption, Unemployed gamer. Lawsuit survivor. Schedule's full. Book ahead. It wasn't petty. Okay, maybe it was. But it was also a flex. A deserved one. The comments came in fast. "Tell us the story, King. Hire this man before he's too expensive." Even better, one of my old professors from a boot camp program dropped in. "Knew you had it in you. Let him talk. You're building while they're blaming." Next day, Rachel posted something cryptic on her socials. A black and white quote image. Sometimes the ones closest to you cut the deepest. No name, no context, just pure victim mode. It got 4 likes. Mom messaged me again. "You embarrassed her in public. Was it really worth it?" I replied, "She sued me. I just showed up with the truth." No response. Business kept growing. More referrals came in. Ellis even looped me into a dev contract with another firm he represents. Small but solid clients. Good people. They saw me as a builder, not a failure. Meanwhile, Rachel went quiet. I heard through the grapevine she'd moved out of her condo, sold off her designer handbags online, and was taking time for her mental health. Which, look, take all the time you need. But don't act like you're healing when you were swinging a knife last week. That chapter was done, but the story wasn't over. Because success is loud, even when you whisper it. I didn't need to rub anything in. I didn't go around posting side-by-sides of court documents and the meme that started it all. I didn't dunk on her LinkedIn or tag her in inspirational comeback quotes. I just worked. Quietly. Efficiently. And the louder they got with damage control and excuses, the more attention landed on me anyway. 2 weeks after the court win, I signed 3 new clients. One was a referral from Ellis. The second came from a guy who saw my sarcastic post and said, "Anyone who survives a lawsuit and still delivers clean code is worth hiring." The third was completely random. Some real estate agency on the other side of the state. Apparently, their internal tech guy left after a crash, and they needed someone to clean it up fast. I had it running in 48 hours. They gave me a testimonial that literally said, "Professional, no drama, no excuses. Would hire again immediately." That review alone got me 4 more inquiries. I hired a part-time guy to help me handle the overflow. He was still in school, rough around the edges, but hungry. Reminded me of me, minus the chip on his shoulder. I liked that. And then it happened. A knock at my door. Again. I already knew before opening it. I stood there for a second, just staring at the door like, do I really want to hear this today? But curiosity won. I cracked it open. Mom and Dad. Round 2. But this time, they looked different. Not angry, not desperate, just sheepish. Dad's usual confidence had deflated into that stiff, hands-in-pockets posture he used when he forgot to pay the water bill when I was 13. Mom had sunglasses on. Indoors. Classic. "Can we come in?" she asked, voice low. "Didn't work out with Rachel, huh?" I said. No answer. I stepped aside. They didn't sit down right away, just hovered like they were waiting for me to offer snacks or small talk. I didn't. Dad finally cleared his throat. "We just wanted to talk." I leaned against the counter. "Talking's free. Just making that clear up front." Mom sighed. "We're struggling a bit." I said nothing, just raised my eyebrows. "We've been helping Rachel out," she added, like I didn't already guess. "She's been through a lot," Dad said, still in excuse mode. "And after everything that happened with the firm, she's..." Well, she's not exactly bouncing back. She was living with us for a while, Mom added, but she needed her own space again. So we helped her get an apartment. I tilted my head. Your golden child needed your help getting a place to live? Thought she was rebuilding her empire. She's trying, Mom said, but she can't get work. No one will hire her right now. I stayed quiet. Let it breathe. That always made them uncomfortable. Then came the punch. We were hoping, Dad said carefully, that maybe you could help. Just a little. She's not asking directly, obviously, but you know how hard things have been. Let me stop you right there, I said. You want me to give her money? They hesitated. Then Mom tried again. Just a small loan. We know you're doing well now. You have your own business. It wouldn't be much. And you think that makes this okay? I asked. You laughed when she called me unemployed. You backed her up when she tried to drag me through court. You accused me of sabotaging her. And now, because I didn't crash like she did, I owe her? It's not about owing, Dad said quickly. It's about family. I chuckled. Right. Now I'm family again. Not when you needed a signature to save her bar license. Not when I was building my business from nothing. But now that you need cash, now I'm back in the club. Mom's voice rose. Josh, don't do this. We've had our differences, yes. But Rachel's still your sister. And we're still your parents. Yeah, you are, I said. And I remember exactly how you acted when she was on top. I remember how many times I got ignored, dismissed, laughed at. You never believed in what I was doing. You thought coding was a phase. You thought freelancing meant lazy. You never saw me as anything but the backup plan. You're twisting this into something it's not, Dad said. We didn't mean any harm. You just didn't think I'd make it, I replied. The silence after that was loud. I walked over to the small table near the entryway and picked up a manila envelope. Inside, a copy of Rachel's lawsuit, the court's dismissal ruling, and my own recent business registration forms for tax season. I handed it to them. What's this? Mom asked. Proof, I said, of where I've been, of what I built, since you didn't seem to notice before. She opened it, glanced inside, then set it down without saying a word. I'm not giving her a cent, I continued, and I'm not giving you one either. You made your choices. You backed the wrong horse. Don't act surprised now that she can't carry you. That's unfair, Dad snapped. No, it's math, I said. You invested everything in her. Emotionally, financially, publicly. And when I succeeded, you weren't proud. You were quiet. So keep that same energy now. They didn't argue after that. Just stood there awkwardly, like they thought maybe I'd change my mind if they looked pitiful enough. Eventually, they left. Didn't even close the door properly. I had to walk over and shut it myself. By spring, everything she once bragged about was gone. The bar suspension went permanent. Quietly. No press release, no appeal, just a stripped title and a note on the official site saying, license inactive, ethics violation. No firm would touch her after that. Even the one where she did her internship wiped her from their alumni list. The whisper networks didn't forget either. Legal groups, clients, recruiters, everyone talked. Not loud, not public, but loud enough to shut every door before she could knock. She tried pivoting, consulting, strategy coaching. Nothing stuck. People Googled. They saw the screenshots, the court case, her attempt to blame her own brother. That kind of stain doesn't wash off. She moved again. Smaller place. Less central. No more coffee balcony photos. No more thriving captions. Just silence. Her friends stopped tagging her. The mutuals unfollowed. The ones who'd once said, your sister's killing it, now said nothing at all. And that silence? That was the loudest part. As for the lawsuit she filed against me, it didn't just get thrown out, it followed her. Every firm she applied to saw the record. Frivolous, personal, desperate. It told them everything they needed to know. She never reached out again. Neither did my parents. I didn't need an apology. I just needed space. And when people ask what happened between us, I keep it simple. She bet everything on being better than me. I just kept building.